For tonight, GT Communications founder Gemma Tognini and Menzies Research Centre Senior Fellow Nick Cater. Welcome to both of you. Now, the Prime Minister has proposed sweeping changes to the travel allowances of politicians and their families after it was revealed Sports and Communications Minister Annika Wells spent more than $8,500 flying her family to 3 AFL grand finals, all at taxpayer expense, of course. Now, under these new changes, travelling in business class for family reunions, that's no longer allowed. And there would also be further restrictions to only include trips between Canberra and the parliamentarians' local area. But, Nick, do you think these changes go far enough to address this expenses rort?
No, nowhere near far enough. Of course not, Caroline. I mean, this is outrageous. The fact that he's only done it now after he was shamed into doing this by these revelations about Annika Wells and others in the party. And by the way, I saw, I think, the top 12 claimants, and all the first 11 were all Labor and Greens. Would you believe it? I think the public really, really hate this. They think that the political class have taken them for granted. They're taking them for a ride. It just increases distrust, not only in the Albanese government, but in politicians as a whole. So I hope this deals with it.
Well, Gemma, I mean, I get the impression the Prime Minister is just trying to nip this whole thing in the bud before Christmas, while everyone's distracted with, of course, this mass terror attack. What's your thoughts?
I think there's definitely an element of that, Caroline. There is an element of him not understanding the political temperature of this country for some significant period of time now. He's simply like a rabbit in the headlights. This was a terrible indictment on his government because, of course, they came to power promising government done differently. They promised transparency, all of the things that they have not delivered. And as we've spoken about before, how many everyday Australians have to juggle work, travel, time with their spouses and children, all of these things, and they don't do it on the taxpayer's dime. I mean, you could almost have a little bit of empathy for politicians, particularly those from places like Western Australia and Queensland, where the travel is actually quite onerous. Western Australia in particular, at the moment we're 3 hours behind over here. But, you know, if they worked a little harder than they did, if they were sitting in Parliament a little bit more often than they are, rather than just treating it like one big slush fund. And Annika Wells' words have come back to bite her fair and square on the behind.
Well, I mean, that's fair enough, but don't give them business class trips. Don't, you know, bring them on ski trips and organise all of that work around you. You know, it just stinks. Let's move on to union leaders.
That should have been a given.
Yeah, it should have been. You're right, Gemma. Union leaders have issued a joint call for pro-Palestine protests to be paused in the wake of the Bondi massacre, distancing themselves from left-wing activists who claim intifada is union business. Health Services Union National President Gerard Hayes told the Australia, have some effing decency, quite frankly. Seriously, there are 15 people who have been killed. There are 40 people who have been put in hospital. It's obscene to continue to protest at this point in time. Gemma, I'll start with you. I mean, it's refreshing to hear this from union leaders, and he's absolutely right, isn't he?
They are right, even if they are late. Where were they when it mattered? Where were they when they were in a position to potentially turn down the temperature, as the Prime Minister loves to say? I welcome their comments, but they are late, and perhaps they've been shamed into saying them. And perhaps, Caroline, there's an element of you become the company you keep, and people can tell a lot about a person by their friends. These are the union's people. These, you know, intifada is union business. I mean, I don't believe that that's something that's never been said before. This is a time in Australia's social evolution, if you like, where we're really seeing what has lied beneath for a very long period of time that nobody wanted to believe, despite the warnings. I welcome the union movement's comments and this pushback from their senior leaders, but it is very, very, very late in the party, and they're going to have their work cut out for them, because I don't imagine these activists will care two hoots what they say.
No, of course they won't. Look, let's get to some lighter news now. And At a shopping centre, a Santa at Westfield Bondi Junction has been forced to undergo retraining after shoppers complained his performance was flat and unenthusiastic. Nick, you know, I've actually been to Westfield Bondi Junction for Santa pictures with my kids. I don't think I had that particular one, but it sounds like he's been hauled off to some sort of Santa Gulag for re-education here.
It's a bit like the plot of Bad Santa, isn't it, with Billy Bob Thornton? You know, I think Billy Bob Thornton was a very grumpy Santa, I seem to recall. I must watch that movie again, by the way, this Christmas.
Great plug for it.
Yeah, look, I mean, it's one of those. It's nice to laugh about a story for once, isn't it? I think this is the first amusing story I've got to talk about on Sky News for the last fortnight. So, Christmas is coming. We shouldn't forget the serious things that have happened, but it's nice to have a bit of Christmas cheer at this time of year.
Yeah, that's what I thought. There's so much hard news. Let's just remind people there's a festive period coming as well. And I mean, I think it's a prerequisite. Santa has to be jolly. Gemma, Tonini and Nick Cater, it's always happy and jolly to see you, and thank you for your time tonight.